love Hina, and I'm gonna rub between her. This is defense mode switching to attack mode. The very first manga I've ever read, because up until that point I was only watching anime, was actually Love Hina. My brother got it for some comic book / manga store, which of course has since closed down because how many of those even exist anymore at this point? But basically, the first manga I've ever read, and basically from the first view I just saw that, yep, it's just another harem anime. What else is new? A Tenchi clone, as I called it, because Tenchi was the king of harem animes, the one that started it all. And you know, so I figured out just another one like that. Whereas the Tenchi anime was kind of like basically, you know, the main character is basically a good-looking guy who I guess not interested in dating or women or whatever, but then everyone around him is basically besides his, you know, grandfather and his uncle, I guess. Everybody around him is women. How did he get into that position? Who knows? So the whole dynamic is all these women, you know, instead of guess what you would expect, which is like the guy wanted to be with all the women and all the women rejecting him, is the opposite. It's basically all the women want him and then he's just kind of oblivious and he's like, pussy, what is that? And so then with Kitaro and Love Hina is the opposite. So basically he's a nerd, which is nothing new for him anime. But that's besides the point. It's actually the fact that he does like all the women there that he runs into, but the women don't really like him. Do character development is that as the volumes go on, they eventually, grow fond of him and get a personal connection with him and kind of like him or semi-like him in an individual way. But it's really focused on him and the main character, Naru. So how does the story start? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. The story begins Kitaro as a child with some unknown random girl next to him, and she basically she's about to leave or whatever. She's about to be taken, elsewhere by her parents and move, blah blah blah. So she says, hey, let's make a promise to each other. Let's both try to get into Tokyo U together so that we can see each other again. Then she gives him a kiss on the cheek. Next scene is her being driven off by her parents in a car, him running behind the car and then falling on his face, and then she crying as she waves goodbye. So we transfer, I guess 18 years later, or however many years later, where he's a grown adult trying to get into Tokyo U. He already failed twice. So he failed twice, and the parents pretty much disown him. The parents are like, look, you're useless, we don't like you, you suck, bye, get the hell out. They say, we're not willing to support your sorry ass anymore. And they pretty much sent him off to live with his grandmother, who owns a hotel that she runs over, in, I guess, Tokyo. And so he goes over there to go live with his grandma, or basically just, basically live with his grandma. When he goes over there, his grandma is not there. Not only is the grandma not there, but the hotel has now been converted to an all-female dormitory. Of course it has. With females already living there. So he goes in there, he sees it's empty, he tries to look for his grandma, probably thinks his grandma is just either out doing something or sleeping or whatever. And then he goes into the tub. Not the tub. Like one of the hot spring shower things they have in there. So he goes in there to chill, and then, Naru, the main protagonist next to Kitaro, the main female of the story. And basically, a whole thing ensues where he's there, he's there and doesn't notice. I remember what happened. He went in there first, and then she follows him. And then because she's in a female dormitory and she doesn't have her glasses on, she just thinks that it's one of the girls. So she goes into the hot springs with him, starts feeding up on him, all this stuff. Of course, she tried to feel the breast, and she realizes that he doesn't have any. She puts the glass on, see what happens, and then you can probably figure it out. She yells out, "Stranger danger!" All the girls come in. Peep and Tom alert. They try to get him kicked out. His aunt happens to be there. He reveals that that's just his dumb idiot nephew, and that he's supposed to be living here. And then it turns out that they're gonna kick him out anyway, but it turns out the grandmother pretty much gave all the rights and the deed to the freaking place to Kitaro. So Kitaro's pretty much the new landlord and the new manager, and there's nothing they can do about it. So they have to accept him for what it is. He eventually tells, Naru why he's there. He wants his Tokyo U aspirations, and about the girl that he made a promise to. He doesn't know who she is. And then later on, when he figures out that Naru is taking practice exams for the test, and basically she's like scoring perfect scores on it, so she's basically gonna ace it. And she has like the second persona when she's at school, where she dresses up like a nerd as well with these big thick glasses and stuff. And so basically, he finds that he thinks that the Naruto's the one he made the promise to. Now, I'm not gonna go ahead and spoil you who the real person was. The real person that he made the promise to whoever, whether it's Naruto or not, I'm not gonna reveal that to you. But I am gonna tell you that they both, eventually grow fond of each other. But pretty much she starts to grow fond of him, despite him thinking he's a perv. And every time she punches him, he gets sent flying, freaking Team Rocket, Pokemon style, or blasting off again style. Every time he does anything remotely perverted, and the whole shenanigans about it is that every time he does some perverted, it's always by accident. Like he never does it on purpose, like he's Brock for Pokemon or something. He always does it by accident. There's always some situation that happens to make him do something perverted, and then he ends up getting his ass whipped and send Team Rocket blasting off away style. Basically, him and Naruto both take the test and they both fail together. Even she does, even though she should have passed it. She fails, he fails. They both, they both end up running off to like some island or whatever to get away from the problems. They eventually try again. And I'm not gonna tell any more of the story about that. But basically, I love this manga. This manga is one of my favorites. The anime is real short. But the anime adaptations that came out, Love Hina, Love Hina Again, Love Hina OVA and Love Hina Again, they're both great. And it's still one of my favorite mangas / animes that I've ever watched. And yeah, I bought all 14 volumes on eBay just so I could relive my nostalgic childhood. Anybody who's a fan of Harem anime, give this a shot and give this a read. It's among the best. It's Attack Monsters Back to Defense Mode, and I'm out. Peace.